What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Uncle Fred back in the house again. Uh, hey man, you thought I was gonna leave you? No, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Hey, we're going back to week 8, and we got some NFL news that's just popping, just hot off the press. Let's get some more light in here. Yeah, there we go. Now I can see you. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button and join in and participate in the Uncle Fred experience, because I promise you it'll be well worth it. Go ahead and hit the like, hit the subscribe. We need as many viewers and subscribers as we can get, trying to get this thing off the ground. But there's a few items on the NFL news circuit we're going to touch on. Then we're going to get into what you really came here for, which is our week 8 picks and analysis. And your boy did pretty good last week, so we want to keep the train going. Looking for that perfect week. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, NFL news. First thing, just ahead of the blockbuster game that's going to be on tomorrow, which we'll be giving our pick on. The Green Bay Packers at the Arizona Cardinals. And probably the biggest Thursday night game in a long time, long as I can remember. Because usually, I'm a big pumper of the NFL, but most of the times the Thursday night games be, less than ideal. Let's just say that, okay? So this is what the doctor ordered here. So anyhow, just ahead of that, we hear the news that Davante Adams, superstar wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers, is a possible no-go for that as he failed protocol. And you know how that thing goes. You have to get a couple of negative results in order to, within a 24-hour period, in order to make that to be a goal. But the way that the NFL's been doing, they're kind of not playing with any of that, because they don't want this thing to blow up and, you have a bunch of infections, a bunch of people getting, whatever and stuff. So they're not trying to take any chances. So the chances of Davante Adams playing on tomorrow night is probably slim and none. And if that wasn't bad enough, fellow wide receiver Allen Lazard has been ruled out for the same reason. So that means that A-Rob will be throwing to Marquez Valdes-Scantling and Randall Cobb, and the rookie Amari Rodgers, which they just drafted out of Clemson. So those will be the guys that Aaron Rodgers will be going to war with. So that's big news. That's going to shift the line one way or the other. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Had Green Bay had all of their players, Davante Adams, Allen Lazard, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, as well as all the other guys, I was going to pick Green Bay to upset them, to beat them. Really not an upset, because they're 6-1 and they're 7-0. But anyway, but this really changes things. Now, I'm going to tell you something. If Aaron Rodgers can beat Arizona on the road without Davante Adams and Allen Lazard, and it was reported that Marquez Valdes-Scantling was a game-time decision, because he was overcome. I think he didn't play last week. So, if he's able to beat them with that remnants of a receiving crew, then that really is, as Stephen A. said, that is a bad man. Don't get me wrong. I like Aaron Rodgers for his talent. I can do without some of his other antics and whatever. But that's going to be interesting, though. But we'll get into that when we get to our pick session. Next item up that we're going to talk about is Deshaun Watson. Apparently, and we know the story, Deshaun Watson has been rumored to go into the Carolina Panthers. Supposedly, he would waive his no trade clause for Miami and also for the Carolina Panthers. Remember that he played his college football at Clemson. the training facility that the Carolina Panthers utilize is in South Carolina. Okay. So, he's very well, known and had made a great reputation for himself in that area. And but the latest developments is he's closed off talks and no trade clause, talk towards the Carolina Panthers, but the talks between them and the Dolphins has heated up, so much so that it is reported, Houston Chronicle, that a deal has already been made between the two teams as far as it relates to, draft picks or, this, that, and the other. Draft pick from which year, and, how many firsts, how many seconds, how many whatever, and how, it is reported that all of those things have already been ironed out. It's just a matter of a Dolphin owner, Stephen Ross, wanting to know from the commissioner what type of penalties is Deshaun Watson going to be facing. In other words, is he going to be put on the commissioner's exempt list anytime soon? And of course, Roger Goodell retort to that was that, well, they don't have enough evidence as of this point to go ahead with an exempt, which means he would, it's a certain amount of time he wouldn't be eligible to play this year. So, so that will be dependent upon the Houston Police Department and their, ability to file charges. This has been going on about 8-9 months. So I don't know what they got. And I know some point over in February, I think, is when some of this stuff is supposed to go down. So, the way it looks right now, if they was able to work out some sort of deal, and possibly it's going to go down Tuesday, which is the trade deadline, he could possibly play this year. Now, what happens the year after that, who knows, So those are the questions that Stephen Ross is trying to get answered. He wanted to get answered before they ink the deal. Everything goes formal, and I don't blame him because I'm not giving up my future or not, all of these things, second and thirds from this year, and I don't know if this guy gonna even play. I would much rather just keep the guy I got. And of course, now the guy they got ain't too bad. Tua Tagovailoa throwing like 69.2% completion percentage, has thrown for like 5 touchdowns the past 2 games, and 6 touchdowns the past 2 games. 2 touchdowns against Jacksonville and 4 against the Atlanta Falcons. So he's playing well right now, and he's playing actually for his professional career because, and what I don't like, and I know we're gonna go on with our story. What I don't like is this insistence by the coach. And don't get me wrong, I like Brian Flores, but this insistence on Tua is our quarterback. He's our quarterback. We're not wavering from that. I've said this 100 times. Tua is our quarterback, but behind the scenes, this is going on. So I don't know what they're actually telling Tua, and I hate it for that young man to have to go in front of the, media all the time. Keep your head up, keep your shoulders back, smile, and be pleasant, and have to answer those kind of questions. Man, Tua's better than that, man. He's better than to have to be subjected to this kind of stuff. So we'll keep our eyes open and ears open for the developments on this particular issue. But yeah, that's been going on for like a day or so, and supposedly this thing's already a done deal. That baby's in the birthing canal and ready to be birthed, ready to be hatched. Okay, and I guess they're just waiting on the trade deadline. So they're just trying to wait on a resolution of the legal process and what's going to be the fallout from that. Of course, now even at the end of that, there's going to be some penalty from the NFL. I don't know if it's going to be a 10-game suspension, a year-long suspension. Some suspension is going to be it, whether it's charges are filed or not, because the NFL has this thing about conduct detrimental to. And if you, in any way, shape, form, or fashion, defame, defile, embarrass the shield that is the NFL, you're going to pay. You're going to pay, bro. So those are the things that are on the horizon for that. But moving on, we know the trade deadline is looming. So these are some of the things that we should expect to see. And as soon as I hear some hot things coming off, your Uncle Fred going to be right here with you with it, on the possible trades and things of that nature that's coming down the pipe. Okay. Um, Look here, man. Just Justin Fields thing. Um, and I talked about this on a couple of occasions where I have my own theory, and I know a lot of my theories and thought processes of an old school perspective. I grew up in the '70s, so I grew up with that kind of perspective, and so those days quarterbacks, you baked the quarterbacks, and they after a year or two you would bring them out of the oven. Now, if a quarterback, say a Peyton Manning, or I'm trying to think of another that started immediately and had success, you think that that's the theory or that's the process for every quarterback. But what people fail to realize is that quarterbacks, just like everybody else, you learn on a different level. A lot of times you are a product of your environment, your experiences, and things of that nature. That's how you determine where you're going to be or what success level you're going to be. And you take like a guy like Peyton Manning, who was a savant. He's groomed to be a savant. His daddy was a quarterback. He ate, slept, and drank quarterback. They ran a pro style offense when he was at Tennessee. So yeah, he was diagnosing defenses in high school. So yeah, when he came into the NFL, yeah, you starting day one, okay. But some of these other quarterbacks may not have been privy to that kind of thing. So getting back to this Justin Fields, now everybody was going, well, Justin Fields need to go on the start, and not be understanding that, like I've said before, Justin Fields, first of all, he was at Georgia. Okay, and didn't get to play much there. Now I think that's a fault of Kirby Smart. I don't know how you start Jeff Fromm over him, or even soon as Justin Fields gets on campus, he got the quarterback job because he's just better than Fromm. I'm sorry, he just is. But Georgia didn't really employ a pro style offense either. They're kind of. And so he left there and enrolled at Ohio State. Now, Ohio State has a great football program, but, do you see any of their quarterbacks playing at the professional level? What kind of offense are they running? And he played there, 2 years and had some great seasons there, and got drafted. They made some moves, and the Chicago Bears drafted him. And so here he is now. They was clamoring for him to start. They had, before they drafted him, they had gotten Andy Dalton from the Cowboys, and he was promised he would start. But they didn't know they was going to have an opportunity to get Justin Fields, but they didn't think he'd be available when they came and drafted. But he was available, and they made a deal, traded up to Giants, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and got that pick and drafted him. And so that kind of changes things. But a lot of people say, well, he should start day one, and not understanding that maybe the Chicago Bears don't have a great offensive line. Like I said, I'm not really, an endorser of Matt Nagy and his ability to develop or coordinate or develop an offense. I've not seen any evidence of that. Now, Mitch Trubisky did okay. I mean, he went to the playoffs 2 years. It was 13-3 1 year, I think. So, I mean, there is something to that. And but I think that team was better than this team that they have now. And so, and what I'm getting to is that Justin Fields, he's only played in 4.5 games. Do you realize he's been sacked 22 times, which is the most in the NFL? Okay. He has 8 giveaways, which is interception plus fumbles, which is the tops in the NFL. Well, in terms of giveaways. Well, he's up there with Mahomes and Trevor Lawrence. Okay, he's only started 4 games now. He's last in passing yards. They're last in completion, last in touchdown to interception ratio. Now everybody was all gung ho for him to start, and I'm saying this is not an indictment on him, but just the situation. All quarterbacks ain't meant to start game one. Now, if you really want the truth about it, Zach Taylor's the coach of the Cincinnati Bengals. But Zach. Uh, Zach Wilson probably shouldn't start the first game for the Jets. Okay, even though I thought highly of Zach Wilson, but when you look at the Jets and look at their offensive, uh, their components, their offensive line, the running backs that they employ. You got a brand new coach in Robert Saleh. I mean, and you see him, he get his brains beat out last week. Now he's out. He's currently out right now with a PCL rupture or whatever. And he's going to miss about 3-4 weeks. And they've made a trade with the Philadelphia Eagles to get Joe Flacco back. Okay. So, so is that because they had Mike White came in for him last week. He's a 4th round pick from the Cowboys from a couple of years ago, but he didn't make it there, and they moved on. But that's just something to keep your eye on with Justin Fields. I really wasn't clamoring for him to start. I didn't think he was ready to start. Some organization that had he started for the New England Patriots, I could say, yeah, he could start because they got a good organization. Their team has a good offensive line. They've got good offensive personnel, good offensive play caller on the sideline, and the organization it's just ran well. Okay, so yeah, he could start right away. Let me tell you just like this: Mac Jones ain't better than him. Now I'm a Roll Tide guy, but Mac Jones ain't better than him. Okay, but Mac Jones is playing better than him because of the system he's playing in, the coaching he's getting, and the team that's around him. That's just conducive for a young quarterback. They're not asking him to do a whole lot. Make short passes. Throw the ball away when you have to. Don't take unnecessary sacks. Justin Fields been sacked 22 times. Okay, so anyhow, so that's it on that. And I know that was something that there's something of noteworthy, something to keep your eye on. This news from the Washington football team, and we know the Washington football team had an investigation into workplace harassment, workplace, with some issues going on with some 40+ Washington football team employees that said that there was a culture that was not welcoming to certain people. I guess, and what I think is still more is the minorities and women is what I think and where it stemmed from, and so. That was what the investigation was doing when they was pulling these emails, this 650,000 emails from the Washington football team server that snagged John Gruden in its net. So the thing is that John Gruden just seems like a great scapegoat to hook up for all of these things. And nothing else has been done about it. As a matter of fact, Goodell has said, well, we're not making nothing public as far as we're done with that investigation. And I know them people that the lawyers and stuff for those 30 individuals like, oh, what the heck? We wanted an investigation. And you can't tell me that out of 650,000 emails, that's all you got was some disparaging remarks from John Gruden, who wasn't even a coach. He was an analyst for Monday Night Football, talking to Bruce Allen. Now, Bruce Allen somehow is escaping all of this stuff because he was the guy that he was talking to. Now, what I want you to start thinking about as he's making all these statements about the NFL Players Association rep DeMaurice Smith, and what was Bruce Allen saying back to him? Because when you talk on a level like that, you really are talking it from a perspective of people that are in that kind of talk with you, if you understand what I'm saying. And so apparently he felt comfortable saying that to Bruce Allen, not expecting to get pushback. So what did Bruce Allen say back to that? Nobody knows. Only thing you get is what John Gruden said to him. What was said back from him? Okay, we don't know. See, and we know that they made some sort of golden parachute for Dan Snyder. Whereas, well, we'll just fine you, $10 million, which I mean that's a lot of money to me and you. But to Dan Snyder, a guy that owns a football team that's worth probably $4 billion. What's $10 million? Okay. All he did was hand over the reins to his wife, Tanya. And, she's the co-CEO anyway. And the beat goes on. Okay. Now, while the NFL was trying to say, well, we did what we needed. Our investigation got what it needed to get. We're moving on. There were two former Washington football team employees that went to the hotel where the NFL owners were meeting and said, hey, look, we want you to make these things public. So we, because Roger Goodell gave this statement saying, well, we're not going to make these things public. We're going to protect the people that was in the investigation. We want to protect the victims in this investigation. And two of those victims said, no, we want this thing opened up because there are some people that are skating. And they said mainly Dan Snyder. And I'm telling you, Bruce Allen. I don't know why they're protecting these guys, why they're going out of their way to make sure these guys don't get caught. And a lot of times people always want justice until the justice snares somebody you don't want snagged. I remember about 10, 15 years ago in the baseball scandal, and I'm rambling here. Everybody wanted all this testing. Oh, we got to get more testing. These guys are juicing. Because it's like a Sammy Sosa was juicing. They don't like Sammy Sosa. So I said they want a Sammy Sosa testing. He's obviously juicing. He was like barely a single and doubles hitter. Now he's hitting 60 home runs. He needs to be tested. Barry Bonds needs to be tested. These are guys he don't like. Barry is surly with the media. They don't want him tested. They want him tested. So they can discredit him and all this stuff. Mark McGwire, they want him tested. All this, but then when they started digging in this thing, you see Roger Clemens. Whoa, hold up, maybe we went just a little too far with that. Oh, but you want these guys protected, but you want to snag these other folks. Be careful with the justice pendulum, because that thing swings both ways. It's kind of like in the Bible talking about the two-edged sword. It cuts going and coming. And if you swing it hard enough, it's going to cut somebody you don't want cut. But if you want justice for all, not for just the ones you want it for. You want it for all. So there's definitely something there. But this particular meeting happened Tuesday this week. And they wanted that stuff uncovered. So, that is what it is. And this just in, J.J. Watt, superstar defensive lineman for the Arizona Cardinals, it's now been discovered that he will possibly miss the rest of the season, including the game tomorrow night. He had a shoulder issue on last week when he played his former team, the Houston Texans, and then when they dug into it further, they found out he was going to need surgery to repair it, and the recovery for said surgery would be 3 to 4 months. So that would end his season. That's something to look for, man. So they're down that guy, and but they got Zach Ertz, and Zach Ertz scored a touchdown last week. That's a guy they picked up, and so that it is what it is. So in that regard, so. But anyhow, that's all we got on that as far as NFL news. So, like I said, Uncle Fred gonna keep you going on the NFL news. And there's one thing I did know that was sort of humorous. On last week's game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals, that was at Baltimore, the radio the radio coverage personnel got a strange thing that happened to them in the third quarter of that game. As appears, they were calling the play-by-play, and then you could hear one of the announcers say, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And then they called the rest of that particular play, and then when the thing was resolved, they let you know. Yeah, you heard the other guy saying, "What are you doing?" Apparently, there was a woman that was at the game that was trying to get into the reporter's box, where they broadcast the game from, to do the play-by-play. She was trying to get in there, trying to find a drink. She says, "I'm a veteran and I'm trying to find a drink. Somebody mix me a drink." Well, apparently, if you think the press box is a bar, you probably had too many drinks already. But anyhow, that was one thing of note from last week that I thought was important. Not important, but just a little funny ha ha thing. But yeah, she was trying to climb into the window where they broadcast the game from and do their play by play and color analysis and stuff from. And she's trying to get her drink. She's trying to get her drink on. So I thought that was funny. And also another trivia. The game between the Houston Texans, and the Arizona Cardinals ended at 31-5. Do you know that that's the only game in the history of the NFL that's ever ended in 31-5? And they've played over 16,000 games in the NFL. Never has there been a contest that ends in a 31-5 score. Let's thought I'd throw that in there. Just information. But this what y'all came for right here. We're going to give you our Week 8 predictions. I went back and forth over these. Your boy went 9-4 last week. Did pretty good. 13-game week. We got a 15-game week this week. There are two teams that are on a bye this week, and I'm not really sure who they are. We'll do it by process of elimination. But let's go ahead. Oh, the byes are Baltimore and Las Vegas. Tells it right here. Baltimore and Las Vegas. Baltimore Ravens and the Las Vegas Raiders will be on a bye this week. So, all right. So there are 15 games. So up front, the first game will be tomorrow night. And this game is kind of fizzling down to be not as good a game as I thought because, Devontae and Lazard are not going to play. And so Aaron Rodgers is going to be limited to just Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Amari Rodgers, and maybe Randall Cobb. So, and Robert Tonyan. He's an underrated tight end. Robert Tonyan can play. Tonyan. Sorry. It's Tonyan. I think he made that known. But, and I would have picked them had they had all their guys, and I mean, they still got Aaron Jones in the backfield. So, I mean, it might still be a pretty decent game because Aaron Rodgers is still a bad dude. So, I don't know. But I just can't see that with that many guys out that they could actually beat the Arizona Cardinals in Arizona. I got Arizona winning that one probably by like a touchdown. But I look for Aaron Rodgers to pull some rabbits out of his hat and maybe utilize some short passing and some runs because, Arizona's really not that great against the run. But they get Chandler Jones back. That might do a little something, but I'm still going with Arizona. I think Green Bay makes it close, but hey, I wouldn't be hurt if Green Bay won that just to see knock them off their perch. You ain't gonna go 16-0. So what's the deal? So anyway, I got Arizona in that game. Number 2, we got Carolina at Atlanta. Not gonna spend a lot of time on this. A couple of teams are both 3. Well, Cardinals are the Cardinals. Carolina is 3-4, having lost 4 straight games, including that almost cleared the decks, firing everybody on the staff. Lost 25-3 to the New York Football Giants. Yuck! How you lose to the New York Football Giants 25-3? And Sam Darnold was god awful. Okay. And they're playing the Atlanta Falcons. And look, Atlanta at the beginning of the season when they lost, I think it was like 25-6 to the Eagles. I thought the Atlanta Falcons was probably one of the worst teams in the NFL, but they have, and they got smoked by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they was 0-2, but then they started to come back and they beat the Jets. They have beaten the Giants, okay, and they beat the Dolphins on last week. Okay, so they're 3-3. Okay, now I know. You beat the Jets, the Giants, and the Carolina Panthers. I know. I get all of that. Okay. But that Kyle Pitts, I'm telling you, that dude is a matchup nightmare. And they're giving that kid more and more stuff in order to, because I see Matt Ryan pulling him off to the side. They're giving him all kind of little stuff. Him and Calvin Ridley, Russell Gage, Hurst, Hayden Hurst. They got a nice little squad, and then they got my man. What's that kid's name? He kind of plays like a slash role. He's a running back and a wide receiver, sort of. Played at Tennessee. He's a return guy. His name will come to me, but he's been running the football for them. So I got Atlanta because they're playing a lot better than Carolina right now. And momentum is a great thing. And once you capture it, I think that, once you start to win, you start to get some. It becomes contagious, And so I got Atlanta. I got Atlanta getting that one at home. I got the Atlanta Falcons winning that, and Carolina falls to 3-5. Okay, Atlanta pulls above 500 to 4-3. All right, and would be second in that division. Well, no, the New Orleans is 4-2. So, but they're much alive. Then we got Miami at Buffalo. Now, the last time, I think the third game of the season, if I'm not mistaken, 35-0 and knocked Tua out of the game, like 6 plays. Miami's been playing a whole lot better now. They haven't had a lot to show for it because they've lost 5 straight. But Tua is playing well. He's basically playing for his NFL life. He's making all his reads. He and Jalen Waddle, Gesicki, Devontae Parker, they're starting to do some things. But they're not beating Buffalo. Buffalo has had a week off, 10 days or whatever to prepare, 2 weeks to prepare, what have you, to stew over that loss last week before last to the Titans where they lost on the last play of the game. Yeah, I don't like their chances. I think Miami plays well, and I think Tua plays probably the game of his life. But I can't see them beating Buffalo and Orchard Park. I just can't see it. So I got the Bills winning that game, probably by a touchdown or more. Okay. Then we got the San Francisco 49ers at the Chicago Bears. And as I said before, Justin Fields not playing that well, but I think the team has not put him in position for success. I really wasn't high on him starting right out the gate because I think they need to resolve some things, their offensive line and stuff, and they really hadn't been able to run the ball that well. But they got some kid named Herbert. I think Montgomery had been hurt, and they got this kid Herbert that ran for 100 yards last week against Tampa Bay, even though they got beat 38-3. But this kid rushed for 100 yards and everything. But San Francisco's got a lot of questions they got to answer because they have lost 4 straight games. They were looked at to be a dark horse Super Bowl or deep playoff run team with Jimmy Garoppolo, and then drafting my man Trey Lance, and then with the offensive imagination that Kyle Shanahan has, you would just imagine all the things, the little gadgetries and stuff, and then the receivers they have. You still got Debo Samuels. And they did have Raheem Mostert, but I think he's out. And they got some kid, Elijah Williams, who's like a 6th-round pick. They just pick up backs and they get 100 yards. 6th-round pick out of Louisiana, the Raging Cajun, I think. And he's been getting 100 yards almost every week, whatever. But something is not right with the way the play calling or something, because Jimmy G's is turning the ball over, and I know Trey Lance is I think he's been hurt last couple of games. I know he got rocked hard in that Arizona game when he tried to sneak into the end zone. He got rocked. But I got San Francisco. I just don't think the Chicago Bears offense is going to be able to move the ball that much on them. And but I would like to be wrong on this. I'd like to see Justin Fields get this win. And they both and actually the Bears have a better record. They're 3-4, and the 49ers are 2-4. Okay. But I got San Francisco. I got San Francisco winning that game. And but we'll see. We'll see. That's my pick. That's your Uncle Fred pick. I got San Francisco. Next, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Cleveland Browns. A lot of people got the Browns, so the Browns is going to make short work of the Steelers. I'm like, you still know that Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb aren't playing. You do know that, and you do know that OBJ is iffy, And we don't know if the right tackle's playing. You don't know if Baker's playing or not. Now, Baker may try to play because he saw that Case Keenum was able to do with his offense. Now, he may want to play, but, they're kind of, and what you also need to know, the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is healthy. They got all their guys back. TJ Watt is a bad dude. That's a mean dude, man. That number 90, you see that number 90 coming around in the edge, you better shut down the thing and call a priest because he's coming, okay? And you got Melvin Ingram, and you got Cam Hayward, Highsmith, and then in the back, you got Fitzpatrick, Hayden. That defense is ready. I'm telling you, they're gonna make life a living HE double hockey stick for Cleveland. I got the Steelers. Completely dismantling this Cleveland offense. Okay. And I got them winning. I look for it to be a knock 'em out, slug 'em game, 21 to 17, not a whole lot of scoring, lot of hitting. And so yeah, I got Pittsburgh winning it. Okay. I got Pittsburgh. Okay. Upset of the day. Philadelphia at Detroit. Look, man, I saw Detroit play their guts out last week. Look, man, they never shortchange you. They play every week. They give Dan Campbell everything they got every week, okay? And Philadelphia, I don't know what they're doing, okay? And as I did my research, I found out that Nick Sirianni, and it's a weird thing, but you would think an organization as established as the Eagles, they got a Super Bowl about 3 or 4 years ago. It's hard to remember they got a Super Bowl champ of not too long ago, but that seemed like that's a million years ago. But you would think an organization that has as much, tradition as them and kind of trenched as they are, Harvey Roseman and Jeffrey Lohr, it's a well-run organization, supposedly, that they would have not hired a rookie coach and allowed him to pick rookie staff members. But that's what he did. That's what he did. He picked guys with really no coordinator experience to head his defensive and offensive staffs. And so that's kind of one thing why, they've not been as good as they should have been. They kind of don't have no offensive identity. You got Jalen running around, not really running the football. They run the ball like less than any team in the NFL, and all the runs are by Jalen. And I just don't know what they're doing, and they've been behind, 30-7, 28-7. They've been behind by like 3 touchdowns in like every game they've played this year. Okay, except for the first one where they jumped all over the Falcons. But something's going on with them, and I don't know what it is. I don't want them to make it Jalen's fault, but some of it might be his, but some of it's also Nick Sirianni's fault. At some point they'll figure it out because I think they have talent, but then on defense they're not blitzing. The Eagles are known for blitzing. Jim Schwartz, would send the house and. Oh my gosh, the late great Jim Johnson. Oh my gosh, he turned over in his grave watching this passive defense that they playing. I got the Lions in an upset because they're gonna hit you in the mouth. Okay, DeAndre Swift, Hawkinson, Jamal Williams. They're gonna hit you in the mouth, and then their defense. They're gonna play. Ask the Rams. I got the Lions winning that game. That's my upset of the day, right there. My upset. Sound the alarm. That's the upset. Then we got the Los Angeles Rams at the Houston Texans. And look, man, I ain't calling no upset on this one. This one could be a 40 to nothing burger. But I look, man, Houston, maybe Tyrod Taylor comes back. I don't know. He's been out for like 6 weeks. He should be, maybe they got a shot, but I don't know. And then they, one of the NFL news I failed to mention at the opening, they just shipped Mark Ingram back off to the New Orleans Saints. So now they're down a veteran running back. So now they're down to Philip Lindsay, David Johnson. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, they traded the Mark Ingram, so he's back reunited with Alvin Kamara. So that's going to be good for them, help them because their other back, I think his name is Tony Jones, I think. He got hurt. He was a kind of the backup. They let Latavius Murray go. So because he wouldn't take a pay cut. But I'm kind of rambling here. But I said all that to say this. Yeah, Rams roll. Rams are one of my sleepers to get to the Super Bowl. If my Cowboys don't get there, I'm going with the Rams. Okay. So I got the Rams winning by a couple of touchdowns. So. Then we got the Tennessee Titans at the Indianapolis Colts. And this one's going to be interesting because both teams are playing well right now. Indy was like 0-3, but they've won 3 out of the last 4. And they would have won 4 straight had they held on against the Baltimore Ravens. But they've played well. Carson Wentz is coming around. They're getting T.Y. Hilton back. Michael Pittman. Big Mike Pittman is beasting on the outside. Jonathan Taylor, one of the fastest running backs in the NFL. Quentin is back on the offensive line, along with Ryan Kelly. The Colts, that's going to be a tough order. And they're playing at Lucas Oil Field, too. I got the Titans. I'm tightening up. I've kind of pulled for the Titans. That's my low key second team. I got the Titans in a close game. That's going to be a good game. That might be the game of the day because both of those teams are playing well. And I think maybe after the Colts, if they lose this game, they might not lose another game for a while. But I think the Colts are playing well, and I think the Titans are hitting their stride as well. This might be a well-played, good game to watch right here. But I got the Titans winning in a close one. Derrick Henry probably 115 yards, a couple touchdowns. But we'll see. Then we got Cincinnati at the New York Jets. And then here I'm hoping that the Cincinnati Bengals don't remember what I said last few days ago on my pick'em results that, with a young team like the Bengals, you hope, like as a old folks used to tell me, they hope that they don't start smelling their pee. Start reading the press clippings. That's what I want to say. That's what you want to say now. You start reading about and hearing about how good they are, that they've stumbled into this game against a team that just gave up a 50-burger to the New England Patriots. So this has trap game written all over it. Okay, you go into this game, with your, all laissez-faire, like, yeah, we good, man, we good. Joe Burrows, and Uzoma and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, all those guys, and the defense they got Jim Bates, Von Bell. They just coming into, yeah, man, we're good, and you run up into a team that gave up a 50-burger. Now you very seldom see a team give up a 50-burger in the NFL. That's a college thing. So them, they are dotting all of their I's, crossing all their T's. This is going to be a competitive game, okay? And I know that might seem crazy, but I done seen enough football in my day. When a team get embarrassed, watch out for them the next week. But I think Cincinnati, with their offensive firepower, I think they overcome it and win by maybe like 6. But I got Cincinnati winning that game. But they're playing in New York. Okay, so they're playing at the Jets. Okay, so it's playing at MetLife. So anything goes. But look for that game to be competitive as heck. Okay, all right. So that's on those. And so now we move to the second page on our second page of slated games. This one I kind of went back and forth on. On paper, it looks like it's a slam dunk, but I don't think it is. You got the New England Patriots at the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, the New England Patriots just came off of giving off a 50-burger to the New York Jets. Maybe they feeling themselves a little bit, okay? And then they going against a Los Angeles Chargers that, number one, had a week off. They didn't play last week, all right? And number two, they got embarrassed the last time out. They got beat 34-6, okay, by the Baltimore Ravens. Okay, got completely outclassed. They had like 208 yards of total offense. Okay, totally just wiped off the map. And their coach is a good coach. He's one of those few. I can't think of his name right now. But he's a good coach. And I've listened to him and his details of how he prepares his team. And those are the type of coaches that, when you give them an extra time off, they come prepared. You're gonna get the best version of Herbert, Justin Herbert. You're gonna get the best version of Mike Williams, the best version of Keenan Allen, the best version of Austin Eckler. And of course, they want to amend their 45-0 loss they got to the Patriots on last year. Okay. But it's New England. They're gonna come with their A game and they're gonna make you play left-handed. They always do. Okay. And I went back and forth. Do I go with the talent of the Los Angeles Chargers or the ingenuity and the organizational excellence of the New England Patriots? And I'm gonna go with the Los Angeles Chargers because they're playing at home. They got 10 days off, and so that's where we're gonna go on that. I'm gonna go with the Chargers on that, and we'll see what happens. Upset number 2. I got 2 upsets. I have Detroit versus Philadelphia. Upset number 2. Jacksonville and Seattle. I know y'all like, man, ain't no way, man. Seattle gonna lose to Jacksonville after they done lost like 3 straight. Well, I'm gonna tell you something. I think Jacksonville is playing some good football right now. Okay. And I think Trevor Lawrence, has got some weapons. He got Marvin Jones, Shenault, Visca Shenault, DJ Chark, and James Robinson in the backfield. Defense is starting to be a little scrappy. And this is face it. Other than DK Metcalf, what do they really have offensively? I know Tyler Lockett, but somebody got to get him the ball. I'm sorry, man. I'm not buying Seattle right now. They're not a good football team right now to me. Okay. And I got Jacksonville going into it used to be Quest Field. I think it's like renowned, something like that. Field now, whatever it is. I think they go in there and they do them. Okay. And I heard one of my sportscasters I listened to say, man, if speaking of Urban Meyer, goes into there to the 12th man and does them, Pete Carroll ought to just walk out and give his papers and say, look, I'm out, man. Peace out. But look, I still like Pete Carroll. He just ain't got a lot to work with, man. They should have went on, pulled the trigger and got Cam. And I thought Geno Smith was going to do something. They played the Pittsburgh Steelers. They played a little bit against the Rams. I said, okay. He got a little something. But then he remembered he was Geno Smith. And I think Jacksonville goes in there and does them. And I know for everybody laughing, I'm afraid on what we're talking about. You're going to be laughing come Monday when I come back with my pick'em results. You're going to be like, Uncle Fred, dude, what are you talking about? Yeah, I usually do. All right, next game, we got Washington at the Washington football team at the Denver Broncos. And kind of like two teams, tailspins. Broncos have lost 4 straight, including that disappointing loss to the injury-riddled Cleveland Browns on Monday night last week. Thursday night last week, sorry. And then you got Washington football team, which is, 2-5. Have lost, Kansas City. And who they lose to last week? Green Bay. They lose to good teams. It's like Kansas City was playing good football at the time. And Green Bay and, Buffalo, and so those are the, 3 of their 5 losses, right there, Then they lost to the Chargers in the game, in the first game of the season. They've beaten the New York Football Giants. And who else have they beaten? I can't think of who else they've beaten. They've beaten somebody else. They got 2 wins. They're 2-5. I can't even think of that second win. They'll come to me in a minute, but this one is kind of interesting. and a difficult one to pick because I don't know, because Washington really their defense is really underachieved this year. I mean, their defensive line is really supposed to be one of the best defensive lines in the game. Chase Young and Jonathan Williams and Sweat. I'm going with the Broncos. They're playing at Mile High. They can't be as bad as they were against the Cleveland Browns. I can't see them losing 5 straight, man. Or Vic Fangio will get, and I think they get Jerry Jeudy back. So you got Tim Patrick, you got Hamler, you got possibly Jerry Jeudy coming back, and Cortland Sutton. We'll go with Noah Fant, Melvin Gordon in the back. They got weapons, man. Denver, don't let me down. I got the Denver Broncos winning this one. Okay, Washington football team falls to 2-6. Sorry, y'all got too much going on. Y'all don't need to be winning no games. Y'all get y'all house clean first. Get y'all house clean. Clean up your house. Then worry about winning games. Next, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the New Orleans Saints. I didn't mark this one because I was kind of undecided on this. And I know, man, it's gonna be Tampa Bay. Hey, man, I'm gonna tell you, man, New Orleans is starting to play some decent football. Now I know that was a slop fest you saw on Monday night, but they did win. They are 4-2. Their defense is solid. Okay, their defense is solid. And so, they got some weapons on defense, on offense, Jameis throws for a lot of touchdown passes, but not for a lot of yards. It's the weirdest thing. They get Ingram back to go with Kamara. That's going to be interesting. Marquez Callaway, he's a good receiver now. He's decent. He's decent. So they got some weapons. They're playing at New Orleans. I got Tampa Bay, man. I'm gonna go with Tampa Bay. Of course, I wouldn't be mad to be wrong on that one to bring Tampa Bay down to earth because we might need to get them at home in the playoff if we continue to win. We beating the Cowboys. But I just think Tampa Bay is playing so well right now. Brady's he's just in a groove, man. A groove like I ain't never seen him in. He got weapons. He's not getting touched. His guys are getting open. All the players are working. He's getting the ball back when his silly wide receiver throws his 600 touchdown ball in the stands. He's getting his ball back. And in addition to what he was given to do, Byron Kennedy, Brady also give him like a Bitcoin. I think it's valued at like $6,000 or something like that. Or was it 60,000? Anyway, he gave him a Bitcoin. Okay, so that's hey, Now I know Shannon Sharpe said, man, he would have to give me lifetime sweet box seats for the rest of my life. I'm on the planes with them. All this kind of foolish stuff. Come on, Shannon. It's crazy, man. But anyway, but I got Tampa Bay winning that one. Then we got the Dallas Cowboys at the Minnesota Vikings. Now I'll give you my prediction on this one, but then we'll be giving you a actual preview on that with stats and probabilities and things of that nature, because there's a lot of things that's going to happen in that game and as it relates to injuries and stuff like that. But I'm rolling with the Cowboys. But I think this game is going to be a lot closer than folks think. Minnesota Vikings are not a slouch. They have as much talent on offense as we do. Okay. And so we're going to see if they can, what they can do. But I got the Cowboys in that game. And then our Monday night game, we got the New York Football Giants at the Kansas City Chiefs. Certainly the Kansas City Chiefs haven't fallen so far off the map that they would lose to the New York Football Giants. And I know the New York Giants are coming off of 25-3 win over the Carolina Panthers, and they feeling themselves. Danny Dimes is doing what Danny Dimes do. They're gonna have Sterling Shepard back, as well as Darius Slayton. They'll both be back. No word on Kadarius Toney. You know, they'll be back, and I know the running back, I can't think of his name, but he won't be back. So they'll be running on, you know, some stuff, you know, but it won't be what they Saquon Barkley has come to me. Get my age, you'll see what I'm talking about. But surely Kansas City won't lose to them after getting embarrassed on Sunday against the Titans. Surely not. Look, man, I think the Kansas City Chiefs scale back the offense, run the ball more short passes, and pick his spots to go deep to Tyreek and Travis more judiciously, and they win this game going away. I know we're not picking the scores and things like that, but I got the Kansas City Chiefs winning something like 31 to like 16, something like that. So there you go. Those are my picks and the NFL news for today. And we'll be back with you on Saturday with our Cowboys preview. And we'll also come back on Tuesday with our Pick'ems results from this week. And let's see what we did. Hopefully your boy can go 15-0. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do 15-0. 15-0. All right. That's what your boy did. But go ahead and hit that like, hit that subscribe button if you like this content. I mean, you know, I just try to, you know, I give you what the other guys give you, but I give it to you the way I give it to you. I bake it the way I bake it. They cook it the way they cook it. I cook it the way I cook it. All right. So hit that like, hit that subscribe, join in with the Uncle Fred experience, and let's see how these games come out. But anyway, that's all I got. Peace.